What's new, crew? Welcome to my channel. If you're new, my name is Cassandra and it's time for another monthly meal plan. I have my February meal plan sitting in front of me and we're just gonna hop in because these videos can get a little long. Starting off, heading into February, my husband is kind of contemplating trying the carnivore diet just for a little bit, just to see if it makes him feel any different, if it helps him feel better, just trying to give it a go. So we're not doing that 100% in February for him. What he wanted to do this month was just kind of test the waters, try a couple meals, see eating it just a little bit here and there, a meal or two, and just kind of see if it's something he even likes before he decides to commit to a full 30 days or 60 days or whatever it ends up being. So a couple of meals this month are a little bit different. We're trying some different things, heavier protein meals, and then I will still make carbs and vegetables for the rest of us and he will veto those. So we're just kind of trying the waters a little bit this month and seeing if it's something he would want to continue further. The first meal, we're gonna do stuffed brats. Saw this meal when I was looking at trying to find some recipes. It looked pretty good, it looked up his alley. So we're gonna give that a go. I'll just buy some brats. We're gonna cut them open, stuff them with some cheese or something like that. I was thinking maybe we could put them like on marinara sauce for the rest of us or something. I don't know, but we're gonna give it a try and see what ends up happening with that meal. We're going to do a chicken lasagna, which is something that we used to do back in the day, but I kind of stopped doing it just because I think that's when it was really hard to find chicken. But now that chicken is more readily available, we're gonna give that a go again. We just like to bake our chicken in the oven with all of our lasagna toppings, and then it's just really good. So we're gonna do that. We're also going to do Swedish meatballs. Just a couple videos ago, I prepped a ton of meatballs, so they're in the freezer and ready to go. So it'll be a really easy kind of brainless meal. Bake the meatballs in the oven, toss them in some gravy. And I really like this meal because you can eat it on top of rice, potatoes, or pasta. And the meal is gonna feel very different. So really we could eat this meal 3 times if we wanted to on each different carb option. It'll feel different. You can switch up your vegetable as well. So it's gonna be a really easy meal for us. I'm really excited about that. That's one that our family likes a lot. Also found a recipe for a cheesy baked meatball. So we're gonna do that as well. Like I said, just using up the prepped meatballs in the freezer, giving myself some easy meals. Of course, we're also going to do our regular pizza. Typically, we'll do homemade pizza or homemade strombolis every Friday. So we'll eat that probably a couple times throughout the month. That's kind of the go-to on our Friday night. Everybody expects it. It's just what we eat on Friday nights. Every once in a while, we'll end up ordering out or doing something different, but typically it's Pizza Fridays. So pretty much every single Friday this month, we are doing pizzas. We're gonna do cracked chicken in the crock pot. I recently rediscovered that I really like having crockpot meals at least once a week, just to give me kind of a brainless meal. It frees up my evenings and it's just really nice when you're cooking a lot from scratch to be able to have kind of a really easy dinner that also creates a lot of leftovers, so it's good for lunches the next day. My husband does have night school 1 day a week where I have been using my crockpot meals on those nights. That way it's easy cleanup, it creates a lot of food, and then I have leftovers for him for lunch the next day as well. So I've really liked that. And then just this last Sunday, when we were doing our Sunday reset on the house as a family, I also did a crockpot meal and realized how much I missed doing that, having crockpot meals on Sundays. I think a lot of parents can relate to that, or even just working people. Sunday nights, you want to get your house reset for the week ahead, and it's really nice because usually we'll do like an earlier dinner or a later lunch. We're eating around like 3:30, 4 o'clock. We'll have dinner, we get the house reset, everybody does baths and showers, and once everybody is cleaned, the house is cleaned, everything's put away for kind of the weekend, we can all sit down and we can watch a movie, we can have a snack, and then it's kind of an easy, relaxing transition into bed. And we've been doing that the last, I think, 2 weeks, and it's been really nice. So I kind of want to get back into that as well. So I have a lot of meals on here that are either specifically crockpot meals or could be crockpot meals if I wanted to do the prep work in the crockpot. Getting back into using my crockpot a lot more, and I'm loving it. I do butter burgers. I've never made these before, but they look fantastic. It's not something that we would eat all of the time, but I'm gonna give it a go and see how we like it. I think it's gonna be a special meal, so we'll see how people end up enjoying that meal. I do still have some venison in the freezer. I have 2 venison tenderloins, I'm pretty sure, in the freezer. So we are going to do a venison stroganoff and a venison pepper steak, and that's what we're going to use up those at probably 1 tenderloin, and I'll just cut it in half and we'll do half for each meal. And that's kind of what we're going to use as like our steak tips or something like that, that typically you would use in a stroganoff or in a pepper steak. I'm very excited about that. So those are going to be some really delicious meals. Those will definitely make leftovers as well. So that's where we're heading into that. If you're new, typically whatever leftovers we have from dinner, we use as lunches for either the next day or just kind of randomly throughout the week. So we are eating through our leftovers, but I found personally for my family, it works best for us to use our leftovers as lunches, and then I don't really have to worry about cooking a real lunch that often or having a lot of lunch items on hand because we're eating our leftovers for lunches, and that way it helps my grocery budget a little bit because it's an easy, convenient lunch, which is something that I would try my best to do anyways. Instead of stopping to cook a meal from scratch in the middle of the day, it's very convenient to just heat up from scratch leftovers and then just be cooking a big from scratch dinner. Breakfast is its whole other thing. It's very easy for me to do, like what I'm going to say is a real breakfast. We have laying hens, so it's very easy to scramble some eggs and toast. Omelets, I make my own pancake mix from scratch now, so it's very easy. We make our own waffles, and we'll make a ton all at once, get them in the freezer, so that way it's very convenient. You're just putting homemade waffles in the toaster or scrambling yourself an egg or something like that. So that's pretty straightforward, but that's how we like to structure our meals. We are gonna do hot dogs, probably hot dogs and like a mac and cheese or a baked mac and cheese. That's one of my kids' favorite meals, so we love to do that. We are also going to do sloppy joes. I canned a bunch of homemade sloppy joe sauce during preservation season. We ate that for the first time last month. It is very good, however, it's definitely a little bit watery. It's not as thick as I would have liked. So now I know for next time when I make it, I need to make sure that I'm taking in account for that. So what I'm gonna do to make that work from now on is make sure that I am just allowing my sloppy joe sauce to cook down a little bit so that the extra water will evaporate and it'll get thicker. Or what you could do is just throw in a little bit of cornstarch or a little bit of flour to help thicken up that sauce a little bit. So it's not that big of a deal, but something that I will definitely correct next time that I do my canned sloppy joe sauce. The actual recipe is good. The only thing is I made it with beefsteak style tomatoes instead of Roma tomatoes, so they're a little bit watery, but that's definitely okay. We're gonna do tacos. That's just kind of a staple thing that we do every single month. We have a couple different varieties of tacos that we will do. That's just like a normal straight up taco. We do burritos or baked tacos or taquitos or whatever it is, really, crunch wraps. So they pretty much all use the same ingredients. So basically when it comes time to make the tacos, I'll just kind of ask everybody what we want and I'll just make it into that form, but all the ingredients are the same. So that's kind of how I just keep it very basic on my meal plan, and we'll change it to whatever we want. That we're gonna do a garlic butter chicken bite. I saw these and they looked pretty good. We have done something similar to this in the past, but I kind of liked that they were down into like almost chicken sized tips, or like steak tips but chicken. So we're gonna give that a go. I figured we'd probably eat that over like maybe a broccoli rice or something like that, and kind of just put it all in a bowl and eat it almost like a power bowl. So we're gonna see how that goes over. Something that I haven't made in a while is just a straight bolognese. We have not done this. It's really good, so we're gonna put that into the rotation. So we're gonna veto something like spaghetti or something like that, and we're gonna put in the bolognese instead. It's very simple and easy to make. I think I've shown this on my channel before. If I can find the video, maybe I can link down below. If not, and I realize I haven't filmed it, maybe I can do that for you this month, is do a what's for dinner and show some of these really popular dinners that we do all of the time. We're gonna do some sort of wrap. This is a family favorite. We typically do it at the beginning of the month. Maybe this is our Sunday meal instead of a crock pot meal. We'll do like lunch meat and bacon and tomatoes and onions and pickles and cucumbers and peppers, like all of the things. It's basically like you would do at Subway, but we put it in a tortilla shell and we make a wrap with it, and it is so unbelievably good. Everybody likes it. We love doing this in the summertime. It's a really light, easy meal, but like I said, might be something that we do on a Sunday. Maybe we pair it with French fries or something like that. But a lot of times we just do the wrap, and it's a lot more filling than you think it would be. So we're gonna do that this month as well. I'm gonna do a 1-pot chicken pot pie. It's almost like a casserole in the Dutch oven. And then I'm gonna make biscuits to go with it. We tried this, I think 2 months ago, and the biscuits did not turn out well. Like the biscuits themselves turned out, but they tasted a little funny. And when I mentioned that, a lot of you guys gave me some tips, said that it might be my baking powder is old. So I got new baking powder. We're gonna see how that goes. So I wanna give that another go and see how the biscuits can turn out. So we're gonna give it another try and see how that goes. We're gonna do a cheesy potato and sausage. This is another crock pot meal: potatoes, cheese, kielbasa, onions. You can do peppers, you can do corn. It's kind of whatever you want to put in your crock pot. Turn it on, let the crock pot do its thing, and it's like this thick potato, creamy. It's almost like a stew or a chowder. It's delicious. Everybody likes it, so we're gonna give that a go. Something else that we haven't done in a long time is a rice and broccoli chicken bake. We used to do it all of the time, and the thing I like the most about this meal is you can eat it the first day as a casserole, as its big meal, and then when you have smaller portions left over, maybe it's not enough for everybody to have as a full meal, but it works really well as a side dish for other meals. So then later in the week, I already have my side dish there, and then we'll just pair that with like hot dogs or burgers or something like that, and then that'll be our side. So I really love to do that. So we're definitely gonna do that. Haven't done it in a long time. What I'm leaning towards doing actually is I have a whole turkey in the freezer that I bought when it was a really good sales price at Aldi, and it's just chilling in the freezer. So I think what I'm gonna do is take that out, put that in the roaster pan and strip it down, and then I'll use a ton of that turkey to do some of these meals. Like maybe that chicken pot pie will turn into a turkey pot pie. Maybe the garlic butter chicken bites will turn into more of like a shredded turkey. So we'll see what happens. We could even use that in our wraps. Instead of doing lunch meat, we could do some of that turkey. So we're gonna see how things play out. We're also gonna do pork ribs. I did this last month during Pantry Challenge, and everybody really liked it. So I'm gonna do that exact same recipe. I did share that in a video, and we are going to do that exact same thing. Worked out really well. That was another crock pot meal, very easy, so we're gonna do that. I'm gonna do a French onion soup pork chop. This is something that we used to do all the time. I'm gonna do it again. Typically, well, recently what we've been doing with our pork chops is either making them into like a teriyaki pork chop, or we have been cooking them in our sauerkraut, which is fantastic. My favorite way to do that is to put the pork chops in a pot. You can put it in your crock pot, dump in your sauerkraut, let that go, and then about 30-40 minutes before you want to eat, dump in a thing of barbecue sauce, and then you get barbecued sauerkraut and pork chops. It is so good. We're also gonna do a $1 million chicken bake. I found this on Pinterest, just trying to find a different meal this month, switch it up a little bit. We're also going to do sliders. This is something that the kids really like, so we're gonna do that. That might be a meal where maybe my husband's gone. I'm just gonna make a thing of sliders, prep it during lunchtime, just throw it in the oven and let it bake. We're gonna do a round steak and gravy. I'm just trying to switch it up a little bit. We don't eat a lot of steak. Typically, we will save our steaks and things, and we get that from our venison, but we have not. We don't have a surplus of venison right now. We have some tenderloin, so we don't have any whole roasts or anything. So I'm gonna check prices. If they're a good price, I'll get that, and if not, I'm gonna stop. The louder you are, the longer this takes. I'm gonna check prices. If they're really bad, I'm gonna veto this meal and we'll do something else. The other thing we are going to do every Valentine's Day, because my wedding anniversary is just a couple days before Valentine's Day. What we have been doing our entire marriage is we just celebrate our wedding anniversary and Valentine's Day kind of in the same thing, and then on Valentine's Day we make it more of a family. So every Valentine's Day for the last couple of years, I've gotten a big bag of seafood that comes with like mussels and shrimp and crab's legs, and we do basically like a seafood boil. We do it just on Valentine's Day. It's once a year. We think it's important to show our kids food from like all over. We don't have those things locally, so it just gets them to try new things, seafood that they don't always maybe see all of the time. That way later in life when it's put in front of them, they have no idea what it is or anything like that, or they've never had it before. So we always do that. And then usually for the kids, because they're obviously not going to want to eat a ton of crab legs or something like that. It's cool for adults, but maybe not for kids. So I always make a couple of like heart-shaped grilled cheese sandwiches or something like that, and the kids will have those. They can try whatever they want to try of the seafood. And we're also going to do Spanish rice. This is another super easy meal. I have a ton of videos on this out there. It's so easy, really delicious. Kids love it. So we're definitely going to do that. Like I said, we're going to do that turkey. We're going to do a turkey pot pie, just a classic turkey pot pie. We're also going to do a Salisbury steak. I made Marry Me chicken kind of on a whim last month because it was pantry challenge. I realized I had all the ingredients, so let's do it. The kids loved it. They devoured it. They ate like 3 helpings each. So we're gonna do that again for sure. And then the last meal is actually just gonna be a date night. Like I said, my husband and I do have a wedding anniversary this month. So on that date, the kids are going to be going over to an aunt and uncle's house. They're gonna hang out for a little bit, play with their cousins. My husband and I are gonna go out. We'll eat, so I'm not gonna have to plan that meal at all. So there is that. That is my February meal plan for my family of 6. If you're needing more meal ideas, I can link down below my meal plan playlist, where typically every month for the last like 3 years I've shared my monthly meal plan for my large family. So if you're needing some inspiration, you can go check those out and you'll have tons and tons and tons of meals to be able to pick from. I hope that this helped you guys make your meal plan, and I will catch you guys in another video.